Jesus, I got Jesus, I got Jesus, I got Jesus, Jesus, I got Jesus.
2004, my aunt called me and said, you know, Ryan, what is a stock? And that resonated with inside of me because I've been a stock trader at that point in time for about 5 or 6 years, and I've been trading a lot of stock, making a lot of good money. But nobody really in my family knew a lot about stocks. September 14, 2004 was when I created Optimum Capital, and there was a few things. There was originally Pillar Capital originally, and I had some friends that they all dropped out and Pillar was taken, so we ended up doing Optimum Capital. But you know, Proverbs 3:27 really strikes me. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it when it is in your power to act. I went on a crusade of just reading as much as possible for an entire year that 2004 on. It was a faith walk of reading 2 to 3 books a month, of just reading as much fiscal responsibility as possible. I started to read books but biblically authors. You know, I wanted to make this company a biblically based company. When I first saw Lee Jenkins, and I read his book, Taking Care of Business, it was the first financial advisor that I'd seen write a book based on biblical principles. 2004 and 2005 was very hard financially for me, because I was used to making, you know, over $100,000 a year easy, well over that. But I went from that to essentially sardines and you know, cheese and tuna fish, you know, cheese nips and tuna fish, man. And it was just, but it was all for God. It was God told me that I would put you in front of means if you just do this. I was doing all these free workshops, and I was noticing my feet were getting wet because my shoes had holes in the bottom in them. And I got mad at God. I said, God, you know, you told me you're going to put me in front of millions of people. And, you know, at that point, I was looking at television. I saw Jerry Willis. This was back in 2008. And saw Jerry Willis on the screen. And I said, God, I don't see these millions of people. Here's Jerry Willis. She's the personal finance, I guess, editor of CNN. She's at Fox now. Still a good, very good friend of mine. And I said, you know, she's doing something I should be doing. I can talk about this stuff. God, she's speaking to millions of people. I want to do what she's doing. That was on a Wednesday. And 9 days later, on a Friday, I met up with Alicia Stewart, who was riding the train. And again, I just yelled at God, man, because I was mad, you know. I was just expressing my frustration because we had that relationship where we were in it, you know. And I met with Alicia Stewart, and she said, Ryan, I've been following your emails for the last 3 years, and I really like what you're doing. Where are you going now? I said, well, I'm going to a financial literacy workshop. She said, oh, wow. So what sort of things do you talk about? And it was on the top of my tongue. Financial literacy was always on the forefront of my mind. And I just went off about, I'm talking about the stock market and what's going on. I was so excited and passionate about it. She said, wow, you really know a lot about this. They even thought about going on CNN. And I said, you know what? I thought about it for a little bit. 12 days later, I was getting a call from Jen Eichmann. It was a Monday. And 13 days later, I was on the help desk with Jay Willis, you know, talking about personal finance on the help desk. And it, to me, was just like, wow, this is what God does, you know. Sometimes you can ask and you shall receive. I'm a living testimony of what God can do, because I would never be able to do this without the help of Jesus. My testimony is essentially that I have been able to do some phenomenal things, some things that in the natural, I work very hard. I work very hard in the natural. And I have skills, I have abilities that I know that I've taken a lot of time to develop. But I'll make no mistake about it that in the natural, there's no way I could have done most of the things that we've been able to accomplish. It was a supernatural intervening that God had to come in order to make my natural abilities and his supernatural abilities come together and make it large enough, big enough, and broad-based enough to empower as many people as the vision that he provided me to be effective